What's happening, everyone? Alan here, and today I'm going to talk about how I lived in a Los Angeles apartment for free, and I'm going to break it down so that you can also get your free apartment. It's like I'm giving out free apartments today. It's going to be awesome. I want to talk about some of the requirements on where it's actually required that landlords have someone in the building and in this type of scenario, and I'm going to call up one of my buddies who's been doing it for years. I did it for years, my wife and I, we did it for years. I'm gonna call up one of my buddies, we're gonna get him live on the call to talk to him about his experience doing it. Even if you have no experience with this, I'm gonna break it down step by step on how to get in. Let's dig in. All right, so here in Los Angeles, one of the rules is that if a building has over 16 units, the owner of that building is required to have what's called a resident manager. And I dove into that a bit more in another video that I'll link you to down below. But basically, if it's 16 units or more, the building has to have a resident manager. So there's this underground world of resident managers that live in apartment buildings, and some of them live there for a discount on the rent. Some of them live there free. They pay no rent. Some of them live there, get no rent, live for free essentially in that apartment, and get a salary. If you came to me and said, Alan, I want to do this.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped.
I want to do this in Los Angeles. I want to do this in whatever city you're in. If the rules are similar, you want to do this, I'm going to break it down for you step by step how you can do this. Let's dive in. We're going to do 3 steps. I'm going to save the best for last, of course, but the first step is to get education. So you want to get educated on this. You want to dive into books. You want to dive into any material you can get, doing research online about, first of all, what the requirements could be where you live, and then educate yourself about real estate, about apartment buildings, about what are the rules, what are the laws. In California, it's the California state laws, landlord regulations. Educate yourself. I know in Los Angeles, there is a training. We've done this, and a lot of my friends have done this over the years, where you can get certified. It's a private company, essentially, that will certify you as a resident manager. Now, side note here. A little bit of legal ins and outs here. I'm not an attorney. I'm not your legal advice. You can go get legal advice on this matter from an attorney, or do some research, or your dentist, or whoever you need to talk to. But just a little disclosure there. But basically, you do not have to have a broker's license to be a resident manager. Now, to manage property, and that's true, I think, in almost any state, to manage property as a property manager, you do need a broker's license. However, if you're the resident manager, meaning you live in the apartment building and you work for, whether it be the property management company, we work directly for the investors that own the buildings that we lived in, you do not need a broker's license. So you want to get educated, and you might be able to get this certificate. I know in Los Angeles it takes about 3 months to get this certificate from what I remember. This was a long time ago when we did it. But basically, you want to get this certificate, and then that will be something that goes on your resume. Part of this is you want to really build out your resume with education, and then secondly, it's about connections.
I know him. I know him.
If you do a training, if you do a certification, I know here in LA, they connect you then, once you're certified, with this list of building owners that are looking for resident managers, because they want someone who's got the education, who's got the training and the certification, if you can get that. I'm going to talk about what you can do if you can't get that, so stay with me here. But basically, you can get connections through that organization. The other place you can get connections is through an apartment association. There's different apartment associations in pretty much any city, and through that apartment association, you can talk to them to find out how do they connect resident managers with building owners or with property management companies. And there's a lot of connections to be made there. Finally, number 3, and this is the big one, is experience. You want to get experience. Experience is golden. You can not have the certification and that's okay. But if you have experience, it's golden. So what if you turn to me and you say, hey, Alan, I don't have any experience with this stuff. Here's what you do. You're gonna get, as I said, educated. If you can get certified, you're gonna get certified. That's all building your resume. And then you're gonna maybe do an internship. Find a resident manager that you could possibly do an internship. Offer to work and help them out for free. And just get that as experience and then use them as a reference. Or a building owner, or a real estate broker, or a property management company, anywhere where you could just do an internship just for the sake of experience will be huge on your resume and huge when you interview. You want to get any real estate experience. Like I said, with a real estate broker or an agent or property management company, or it could be even you've worked renovations, so you have some construction experience. Any of those sort of experiences that you've got, you want to put on your resume. And this can lead to you then doing an interview. When you've got some of the education lined up, some of your connections lined up to get to the interview, and then you've got experience on there, you get an interview. For my first gig as a resident manager, we just responded to an ad that was placed, and we interviewed for the position, and we told them, look, we don't have a lot of experience with being a resident manager, but we do have this real estate experience. And so my wife and I, we got in and we got a discount on the rent. We got $500 off on this amazing renovated apartment in Santa Monica, 6th in Montana, walking distance to the beach and promenade, and just got a great, great deal. But on top of that, that was huge experience that then launched us into both real estate investing, and it launched us into our next real estate resident manager position where we got a free apartment, completely free. And that can further lead, as some of my friends have done, that can further lead to where you get not just a free apartment, but if you're managing larger properties as a resident manager, you could get a free apartment plus benefits or plus salary. So beyond free, you're living there and you're getting paid to live there. Of course, you're helping manage the building, and usually that's going to be a larger building. So it could be all the way up to a full-time position to do that. And you know what? If you're single, this works. If you're married, if you have kids, I have friends who've done it for 10 years and they have kids. Having a pet can make it challenging, because if you have a pet, some apartment buildings are no pets. So pets can be a challenge, but basically even that is possible if you find a pet-friendly building. So this is a strategy that you can implement. All right, so I want to make a transition here, and we're going to call up my buddy and we're going to talk to him. He has tons of experience as a resident manager, lives in a great area in Santa Monica. It's the beach side of Los Angeles. Let's dig in. Let's find out what he does and how he does it. Let's get him live on the call. So I got my buddy Mike here on the phone. Mike is a resident manager in Los Angeles. He's got exactly what we're talking about today, which is a free apartment in a beautiful part of Los Angeles. Yeah. He's right near the Americana brand, which is an outdoor mall extravaganza. So he's got an insane location. He's got a great 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in a nice building with a pool and hot tub. And so Mike, how did you get this deal? You know, kind of lead us into this, how you got into this situation.
I was just laughing there for a second because it sounded like you were trying to pitch me on the place that I'm already living in. Yeah. But the idea of getting into property management just fell into my lap. I took a course in property management to get started. It was from AGLA, the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles, and there might be, if this is national, your local area might have some sort of course along that line as well. And the other benefit that I had was I knew guys like you, Alan, back then, and then we had a few other friends who had done property management before, and I interned with them, I shadowed them to help build my resume and confidence. So for when I did interviews.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you got, I'm trying to remember now, the gig that you have right now, was that your first? Because you're managing 72 units. You got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and you've got, you know, because of the workload, you've got some salary or, you know, pay on top of that. Was this your first gig, or did you step into this from something else? I'm trying to remember now.
Right. Yeah. So I've had a few different buildings. I started out at 35, and then my company just kept on realizing I can handle a lot more than what they're giving me.
That's
And
right.
so
You were at the 35 unit in, was it Eagle Rock?
that was in Pasadena. Eagle Rock was a 67 unit.
Wow, that's right. Pasadena. Yes, 35. Then you went 67, and now you're 72.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I've had a few other things on top of that.
And the 72 unit you're in now is the nicest of the, I mean, the buildings. It's got the most kind of amenities and et cetera.
Yeah. I did have one really, really nice extra one that I did on the side as well. But yeah, but of the buildings that I was the resident manager, yes, this is definitely the nicest.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a second. So you've been managing this building for, is it 8 years?
I've been managing for over 8 years. This one I've been doing it for over 5.
Got it. So you've been here for 5. You also have had time to take other buildings because the company you work for, they kind of own and manage other buildings. So you've been able to take those on at times when those managers are out of town, and then you get additional income from that. And then you've had some side projects here and there that you do occasionally. So you've had time to kind of even do some things on the side business wise, besides running a softball team and all the other fun stuff you do and getting engaged and all that good stuff. But you've been able to
give Bethany a plug here. Yes. He's got engaged.
You've been able to do some other things on the side as well, business wise.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about being an apartment complex manager. When you do a 72 unit building, that often can be a full-time job, depending upon the structure of the company. You know, I do the 72 units on my own.
Yeah.
Some other companies where they start to get into 150, 400 unit buildings, that's when they start having teams doing it, and they might hire in part-time people. But that's not where you're going for, because we're talking about you're getting free rent.
Right.
So the company, you're looking for those, says the 16 unit buildings, and 72 units is almost a full time. When you start getting down to the 16 unit buildings, they're not always, that's not going to be a full-time job.
Right. So when you did the first one you did was 35, right?
Yeah.
So what, you got a free apartment, and did you get some pay too, or how did that one?
Yes. I got a free apartment.
Okay.
I did get pay on top of it, and then there were benefits and bonuses and stuff like that on top of that.
And then didn't you also have like a part-time job because it wasn't as demanding, obviously, as like a 72 unit?
Yeah, as I recall, I think I worked for you.
Remember that horrible job you had?
Oh yeah, let's not scare about
boss. Nightmare.
Oh my gosh, that guy. Yeah. But I did have I had a lot of extra time to be able to do extra work. It helps when you have a job. Your side job is one that where you're not clocking in and clocking out.
Right.
Where it's one that's really flexible with the hours
right.
that you can do.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend that if you're going to be a property manager, because you need to be available for when there is a building emergency. Water is flowing out of the ceiling and you don't know where it's coming from. You need to go investigate it and be on it right away.
Right.
So yeah, but it's totally possible to have a side job, even with the 72 unit building. It is a great job. Definitely, you want to be an outgoing person. You want to be an extrovert. You want to be the type of person who is service orientated. Other than that, I would say go for it. It's a great career and I've loved it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time. And we look forward to following up with you on the next one.
Sounds good, bud.
All right.
Catch you later.
If this has been of value to you, like this video, give us comments in the comment section of what you'd like us to talk about. If there's something specific related to real estate or real estate hacks, subscribe to our channel. We're going to do more updates on different topics on real estate, lifestyle, and finance hacks. And we want to get you the information that you're looking for. So we'd love to hear from you. If any of you have experience as a resident manager, let us know in the comment section. Again, we look forward to connecting with you in the next one.
One